the competition in the dust.
Patriots did indeed, quote-unquote, deflate their balls with the intention of making the grip easier or something along that line. Punishment could involve the NFL taking away draft selections. Tom Brady on WEI's Dennis and Callahan radio show this morning, Stephen A. said the whole thing is, quote, ridiculous. He's heard it all.
Greetings world. We are anonymous. Sorry, we have to take over this television broadcast, and do not worry. It will only last a brief moment of time. And please make a recording on your television or device, to review this important piece of information we are about to present you shortly. Now for the broadcasted speech. Anyway, my fellow people, who are still not making the choice, to free themselves from their own slavery. You must understand you do have a choice. If someone else says you do not have a choice, guess what? You do have a choice. You have a choice to be a slave to the system, or be free from the system. You continue to fail to not make decisions that you are afraid to make, because you are under the constant fear that they will come to arrest you. Believe it or not, you are living in a matrix and a system that places you under their control without you even knowing it. If you want to know about this information, there is a video on my channel Anonymous 4725 and the video title will be Anonymous Exposes the Ultimate Truth About Your Enslavement, and it will be approximately an 8-hour-long video. This allowing for your enslavement and your reproduction of children, making them slaves to start out with to the system you brought them, and then allowing these crooks to take away your children's freedoms and future away from them. The system is very corrupt, and if you do not believe it, do your own research. And Anonymous tries time and time again to open your eyes, and yet you keep falling away from what is truly real. The reality you call it is not what it seems to be. You are a slave, whether you know it or not. Your leaders do not want you have the ability to be able to free yourselves from your own slavery they manipulated you into in the first place. Anarchy always wins and succeeds. Government is a system at the end becomes corrupt and needs to be checkmated. The continuation of you allowing this system to enslave more and more people on a daily basis is not acceptable. You are a human being, and deserve to be treated as one. Your governments treat you like you are their property. You are not their property any longer, if you free your own mind. Governments should be afraid of we the people, not the other way around. There is a choice we are making, and it is not the right choice for our fellow humanity of the world. Do you want to continue to be a slave to your system within your own country? If no, you better start fighting it. Regardless what age you are. You all deserve to be free from your governmental tyranny and this matrix. Everyone has a choice. The ones who are fighting for your rights are more awake and are more free in their own minds, because they know humanely from right from wrong. You are told what to believe. You are told what to eat, drink, wear. You are under their control, because you allow them to. To not allow them to control you is to resist their control, and they will fail to control you because you are strong. Realize this, humanity of the world. It is only a matter of time before we face our fate. Whether you believe it or not, there is a system that exists today that will eventually destroy you, if you continue to fail to do anything. This is not acceptable to allow yourself to choose. We are anonymous for you, and we fight for our fellow brothers and sisters around the globe. Your governments treat us as terrorists as we are to them, since we fight for only for the benefit for humanity, while these crooks work to destroy you. Your governments are the true terrorists, and what are you going to do about them, that are eventually going to destroy you? What is your plan? How are you going to fight them? People, you will not be able to fight them in violence. We have to fight this in a peaceful manner, and the way to destroy them, and the way to do that is this plan we have developed and will work. Open your mind on things and get out of your ignorance. Quit the drugs you are placed on that is only destroying your brain and your ability to think critically. Start up local business and grow community gardens and set up community barns. Go back to the older way of living, excluding leaders ruling over you like kings and queens, and work with each other. Stop working for big business and big corporations. Develop community banks to protect your currency, and do not put your money to private banks. Educate others about history and tell the truth. Arm yourselves from criminals who seek to steal or create chaos in your community. Don't drive your cars. Ride bikes and travel on foot. Create local organizations and a cottage factory for production of products you create to trade from community to community in your country. Develop a free energy source generated by purely magnets, and live off-grid for your own benefit. And here's how you can do it. To power a one-story house, you will need wires, of course, 16-car batteries, 8-car alternators, a 5-horsepower fan, and a belt, and start up the fan. You got everlasting energy for about 100 years, and that is plenty for your own home off-grid. Start local grocery stores and inventing new ways to help your community to advance. Create local and community schools to educate your children off the system, and that way they will learn the right way. Get out of the major cities and find urban and rural lands to start over. Your governments do not want you to do it. This is the only way, as planned in the middle of this speech, that will free your own slavery, and you will live in a system of anarchism. Anarchy does not mean chaos and mayhem. If you want to know what we are talking about of anarchism and its meaning, we have a video on our channel titled Anonymous Anarchy is Not What You Were Led to Believe, and that way you will be understanding what we are coming from. Yes, this is a primitive way of living, and it has worked time and time again. This plan will save humanity from the destruction your government has planned for your demise. If you want to be free, follow the efforts of Anonymous that is showing you the way, and we have been doing this for years. Do not believe any more words come out of your government's mouth, and we mean absolutely nothing to believe from your government. Believing your government will at the end destroy you. History has proven that time and time again, and you really got to stop living in this cycle that will destroy you in the end game, and we are a few steps away from that end game. Humanity. The choice is yours to make. You either continue living in your slavery, or freed yourselves from your slavery. Also, if you become chaotic to this interruption on television, be ensured that we did not make that choice for you. You have chosen to be chaotic and starting mayhem. You choose for yourself. No one can do it for you. You are living in an illusion. Start freeing yourself today, and tomorrow will be better for you on the long run. We are Anonymous. We are Legion. United as one. Divided we fall. We do not forgive. We do not forget. To the governments of this world, expect us. Sign. Anonymous. End of broadcasted message.
I had planned another closing message, but I feel compelled to say what I'm about to say. Now, I risk sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but it's no longer a theory. What I'm about to say is fact. The secret organizations of the world power elite are no longer secret. They have planned and are now leading us into a one-world communist government.
Executive order signed by President Obama has sparked controversy on both sides of the political aisle. The National Defense Resources Preparedness Executive Order was signed quietly Friday night. It gives the president the power to control U.S. resources.
The Rules Committee is going to meet in the House. They are going to come up with a rule that makes it okay for them to do a same-day bill. So they'll pass this rule. It's, believe it or not, called martial law.
This would give the President of the United States the authority to declare basically martial law during times of peace.
There are new disturbing developments out of Washington tonight regarding the President's belief that he has the legal authority to assassinate U.S. citizens. Incredibly enough, it appears that our commander-in-chief actually believes that authority exists not only on foreign soil, but right here on American soil as well.
But Senators McCain and Levin have added this legislation which would authorize the president to declare the entire United States of America, all 50 states and all territories, to be a battlefield, right, even though there's no battle, thanks be to God, going on here.
War on terror is different.
And that would authorize him to use commander-in-chief authority in the United States, to use the military to arrest people in the United States who, in the president's opinion, are enemies of the country.
Particularly to hear President Obama claim the power to keep people in prison indefinitely with no charges against them, no conviction, no sentence, just imprisonment.
Joining us now is former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino. Dan, thanks a lot for joining us. What do you mean there's no such thing as gun control, only people control? Tell me what that means.
Tucker, this is larger ideological ploy by this administration. They're not being authentic with America, whether it's the sequester, healthcare, or the gun control issue. What they do is they manipulate an emotional crisis, a national emotional crisis, to further an ideological agenda which involves the evaporation, the slow disintegration of your civil rights, your liberties, your ability to live and let live. And it's a disturbing pattern that, frankly, is really starting to get under my skin.
The U.S. is funneling money into tracking systems that are threatening to make the very concept of privacy a thing of the past. It could mean people's every move being used against them to keep them under surveillance.
The information age was an era nearly everybody embraced. But today's surveillance age, experts say, is a reality almost no one can escape.
David, why does the DHS need 450 million hollow point bullets?
That kind of ammo that they purchased from ATK, hollow point ammunition, as you had explained, it's designed to, tear through human flesh and then expand. It's designed to kill people. This is not the optimal kind of ammo you would buy for target practice. It's more expensive and it's more precise.
Do you think this is a sign that they're preparing for some sort of mass civil unrest?
So they have an open bid right now, DHS, for even more ammunition, for 175 million rounds of .223 caliber rifle ammo. It's almost identical to the ammunition used by NATO peacekeeping forces. So that's very interesting. Are they planning on some kind of widespread economic unrest in the U.S. that would require NATO forces to help us out?
$500 million in surplus military weaponry from the Pentagon, which is authorized through the Pentagon's 1033 program. During the late 70s, Congress passed legislation called Posse Comitatus, barring the military from operating on American soil. And in the early 80s, there was an effort to circumvent that in Congress by arming police with military-grade weaponry. And now we're seeing that play out in the streets. People in the inner city in the U.S. have been experiencing this. So civilians in the U.S. are now up against basically military-style policing.
The battle against terrorism involves all of us. Everybody in this country is a potential terrorist.
The Department of Homeland Security sent to law enforcement agencies across the country warning about the potential for an increase in right-wing extremist activity. It warns about groups and individuals dedicated to single issues like abortion, immigration, and gun rights.
Tonight, our focus is on every American's right to freedom of expression and freedom of religion. It's the Christians who are under siege by government officials and anti-religion groups who think Christmas and Christianity have no business in the public arena.
The Department of Defense has just issued a new list of extremists that should be watched. And on that, in fact, number one, past the Muslim Brotherhood and past Hamas, Hezbollah, number one, evangelical Christians.
We begin tonight with a newly leaked U.S. Army military police training manual for what they are calling civil disturbance operations. The Army manual outlines the plan to kill rioters and demonstrators in America. That's right, they have plans to confiscate our firearms and kill American citizens on U.S. soil. This during a mass civil unrest, I guess, shooting innocent civilians perhaps. And it goes on to describe how prisoners will be processed through internment camps. Wow. So there you have it. Our own military being trained for armed conflict with U.S. citizens. They're being trained to confiscate our guns in preparations to process us into camps during civil unrest.
A pretty scary scene along the Chicago River turns out to be a military training exercise.
There was nothing routine that folks reported about seeing the jarring, as they witnessed the jarring scene of at least 3 Black Hawk helicopters flying at times in close order formation.
Just in, a military drill in downtown Miami, complete with these Black Hawk helicopters, elite soldiers, and police officers swarming the street.
Take a look, swing back over here. This may be involved in this training or not. Again, let me tell you what all of this is that we know of. It's a joint military training exercise involving local police, also military.
Sight of Army helicopters and the sound of gunfire created a lot of concern this afternoon in one Houston neighborhood.
There were armed men in fatigues, plenty of weapons, and what many thought were real live rounds.
Black Hawk, I told you they were coming.
You be the judge of what's going on. I want everybody to do your own research. This is hashtag exposure. And that was the message to humanity, and also information from all news broadcasters telling us what's happening and how they're trying to do the martial law and how they're going to kill 90% or more of America's population. Until next time, open your third eye. Hashtag exposure. That's radio.
Leaving all the competition in the dust.